Good afternoon, Pizza Hut. Understanding the importance of being able to stay connected to consumers around the world, today our team is here to present our findings and evaluation on your websites. Before we present our findings and evaluation on Pizza Hut's diverse cultural website design, I would first like to briefly share 4 distinctive cultural-based website design concepts, namely globalization, internationalization, localization, and lastly, culturalization. Globalization refers to a homogeneous web design that does not contain any cultural context. It is a generic website that's applied to all countries. It does not account for any cultural preferences. Next, internationalization refers to a generic customization of the web design that caters to a wider range of audience. For instance, when an internationalized website default language is in English, the user has the flexibility to display the content in Chinese if desired. However, understanding that the traditional way of Chinese writing is from right to left, such instinctive and cultural preferences are not reflected on an internationalized web design. Third, localization has a greater flexibility. It is highly customizable to fit various cultural differences. And lastly, culturalization has the greatest flexibility among all. It refers to the validation of your content and layout, ensuring relevance and customized information for the target market user experience and tapping to local cultural references. Having understood the 4 distinctive design concepts, our group concludes that Pizza Hut, from a global perspective, has applied the cultural concept on their website. The degree of differences in terms of pizza selection, information, layout, and color scheme are evident. However, viewing from Singapore, a multicultural country point of view, I feel that Pizza Hut has a lot of room for improvement. Firstly, understanding that Singapore is a multicultural country, the website has failed to achieve the internationalized concept approach. The website has made a fundamental assumption that all Singaporeans can read English. But based on Singapore Statistical Board, it shows that there is about 20% of Singaporeans are not English educated. Therefore, it will be beneficial if Pizza Hut allows a bare minimum of language selection within a country itself. I will now pass my time to Satoshi to explain about how cultural metaphors play a part in user web experiences.
Thank you, Leonard. Before I go on to talk about the potential usage of metaphors, let me start by giving a quick overview of metaphors and their importance. Metaphor technology allows humans to quickly and easily understand and relate to the functionality of certain applications with real-life experiences. By framing them to be culturally biased and taking into account the intrinsic needs and preferences of users, metaphors can serve as powerful communication tools. From our analysis, Pizza Hut did come up with some good metaphors. For example, on the main page of Singapore site, if someone wanted to use telephone ordering, a phone image is available. By looking at the phone image, one would be able to draw the link to phone delivery. Furthermore, on the US side, to display the benefits that users would get for ordering online, the usage of images that are common for discounts like the dollar signs, the heart, and the flash symbol helps users to easily relate and understand what benefits they will be able to enjoy. However, delving in closer, both sites can improve. For example, instead of using regular links or buttons for online ordering functions, the site should instead utilize buttons in the shape of ordering counter or shopping cart so that people who may not be familiar with online transactions could better understand what that meant. By making it easier to understand, it will allow Pizza Hut to save more money and human resources, as orders can now be slowly shifted to online transactions rather than just through telephone operators. Additionally, from the survey results, it could be seen that both the Singapore and American users agree that American site is easier to navigate. As our survey sample are university students, it could be due to the fact that students in Singapore are westernized because of the education style and the types of exposure we get. Hence, the Singapore user results may prefer the site catered to Western preferences. With that taken in mind, it would really depend on what the target market for Pizza Hut is in Singapore. If Pizza Hut's market is of the younger generation, they would need to redesign the site to include more westernized influences or metaphors. With that, I'll hand my time over to Shraddha to comment on the color palette for Pizza Hut.
The use of color is an important factor that should be considered when designing a website. Colors can be used for images, backgrounds, frames, etc. It can be associated to feelings of people and has different meanings in different parts of the world. Color preferences and the meaning of colors should be taken into consideration when dealing with a targeted audience. So for example, the color red means different things to people in different countries. In China, it means happiness. In Japan, it means anger. And in Egypt, it represents death. It can also be associated with religion. For example, the Judeo-Christian tradition is associated with the colors red, blue, white, and gold, while Buddhism is affiliated with saffron yellow. This is why it's so helpful to conduct a survey and an analysis of color preferences before designing a large-scale website. So at first glance, the three colors that stand out the most on the Singapore Pizza Hut website are yellow, red, and blue. Now to the eastern side of the world, red symbolizes happiness and prosperity, while yellow symbolizes proof against evil or something sacred, and blue symbolizes wealth and self-cultivation. All these associations are positive or happy feelings. The three colors that stand out the most on the American Pizza Hut website are red, white, and green. To North America, red is associated with excitement, love, and passion, while green symbolizes spring and new birth, and white symbolizes peace and angels. These aspects are also all positive and somehow entail happiness. The choices made for each website are very suiting because their main colors represent positivity and happiness. Since the website chose bright colors that grab people's attention and radiate so much exuberance, people will come back to it again. They will recognize it when they see it, and the more they use it, the better they know how to use it. Also, since colors can be associated with religion, they don't have to necessarily target one religion, but can include colors of a holiday that each culture celebrates. So for example, if it's that country's Independence Day, the site should be altered according to their country's colors. Thank you.
Now I'm going to go over the differences between the homepage for the Pizza Hut US site as well as the Pizza Hut Singapore site. Both pages have very similar features such as the logo at the very top left corner, as well as the small menu at the top right corner. However, the bulk of the information in the middle of the page is very different. The two main differences that I noticed is the usability as well as the advertisements that are on the page. As for usability, the US Pizza Hut site offers a menu of the items right when you get to the home page. However, for the Singapore site, there are a lot more designs, and it has two main buttons on the page, including Let's Sign at Pizza Hut and the I'm Going for Online Ordering button. This shows a difference in culture because for the US Pizza Hut site, it is much more direct and allows the user to go straight into ordering. Another way that they do this is through a huge button at the top that says Start Your Order. And this shows that people come to the US Pizza Hut site just to order pizza. However, for the Singaporeans, they also offer the Let's Dine at Pizza Hut button. And this goes to show that people often come to Pizza Hut site to look up the items and what they can do when they dine there. And this shows the difference that people are looking for when they order fast food from these different websites. As far as the advertisements, the US Pizza Hut site has a lot more advertisements all over the page, and these promote different promotional activities that they have. However, for the Singaporean site, they have no advertisements and instead have a lot more designs. This shows a very different culture for the Singaporean culture as well as the US culture because in the US, a lot of their advertisements are online through internet websites as well as social media. And for the Singaporeans, they clearly don't focus on this and do not have this on their website.
Thank you, Tricia. When any company wishes to localize, there are three common ways they can go about doing it. Firstly, they can simply add a translation tool to their main website and allow users to select the language based on the options available. This is considered the monarchies approach, where options are dictated rather than adapted from user preferences. Based on the Singaporean and American websites we have seen, it can be safe to say that Pizza Hut has not adopted this approach, as both are significantly different in design. Quick visit to the Chinese website shows that they do translate to the Chinese language, as well as have designed it differently to suit the Chinese market. A second approach is called the anarchist approach. This means that each locale would have its own type of website specific to its needs without any coordination from a central corporate strategy. The best way to identify such an approach is to visit the website that describes the company's philosophy and goals. The American website has a fancy animated layout with a timeline depicting the growth over the years, but was last updated in 2008. Singaporean website is more generic, but extremely wordy. and is not tied to a specific date for the last update. This shows that even at the most basic level of company description, there is no corporate strategy from Pizza Hut's headquarters regarding website management and localization. Finally, the third approach is a compromise between the two. The federalist approach encompasses central planning for content that has to be consistent across locales while allowing each locale to localize specifically to its needs. Pizza Hut seems to have done well in localization, but has had very little central planning to provide a consistent message. In summary, Pizza Hut seems to be localizing based on an anarchy approach, but can do better if there is some standardization on basic content. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention. We hope that our presentation has been helpful in providing new insights into your web campaigns, and we hope that you will continue to fare well in the global marketplace. Goodbye.
Overall, I would say we had a really good experience working with people from a different country, although there were definitely very typical issues that had to do with time zones as well as communicating through different mediums. As for time zones, we always had to schedule our meetings in the nights and in the mornings, just because that was the only time where both of us would be awake. And because we all had such busy schedules, it was very difficult to find a time a lot of the times, and we really had to make sure that we were catering to each other and making all the meeting times that we set.
Although we faced many obstacles, we learned how to work around them over time. Our primary method of communicating was through email, in which we were unable to receive immediate responses due to the time difference.
As for our way of talking to each other, we used video conferencing, and this was a very good way to communicate through different countries. However, it definitely doesn't compare to in-person talking, and it was very hard to get all 5 of us on the video camera at the same time and to be able to communicate very effectively.
We also communicated through WhatsApp for emergency questions or suggestions. Not everyone in our group had WhatsApp, so the issue was communicated only between 2 people, and it was their job to communicate it to others in the group.
However, overall, I would say we had a really great experience, and we really learned the importance of technology and how we're really able to utilize technology these days to communicate with people so far away. And we really hope that we have a chance to work on something again like this, and that we're able to utilize what we learned and just communicate even better.
So now I'd like to take some time to reflect on what we've learned throughout this course. Some of the communication tools that we use, like Skype, Google Hangouts, WhatsApp, or even email. One lesson learned was that we should not get too dependent on any particular type. Be flexible about it. Sometimes the connection wasn't very good, so we had to depend on audio rather than video conferencing. And definitely this is just as good because you can still get a message across, and there is always a chat function available as well. So be flexible when you're communicating with each other. One issue that we faced was trying to coordinate between the different time zones. Sometimes we will get ideas in class, or they will have ideas in class. So we definitely learned how to be patient, to wait for their confirmation, or for them to wait for our confirmation. That's definitely something we learned. Another issue is the difference in work cultures. Here in SMU, we are very hard workers, and we do not really stop ourselves from working over the weekends. Whereas on the other end, they do seem to set a priority on enjoying themselves during the weekends, which is a good thing because it balances work-life culture. And we are very thankful with our CMU teammates. They managed to set aside some time during their weekends as well. So we are thankful that they managed to do that to meet all the deadlines that we set. However, one thing that we did try our best to do was to ensure that the task breakdown it allowed for everyone to work independently. It is a bit hard for collaboration where certain tasks definitely require to wait for someone else, but it is always something that we can work forward to. So students of future courses, that is definitely one avenue you can work on. Another issue that we faced was Super Bowl weekend, but we did not let this be an issue because we knew about it right from the start. So we included it in our schedule and we worked right around it. So it wasn't a major issue for us as well. Another issue that we faced, perhaps Leonard can share with us.
Yeah, I believe all other groups also face such situation where when you do a video conference with your partners in US, you tend to have a very muffled sound and stuff like that. So this is not a problem. The worst part is the accent that American people have and us, because I kind of find that it's hard to really hear them out through the video conferencing. Therefore, one solution that we have was we were honest with each other and we try to tell each other to slow down when they speak so that we can really comprehend the information. So that's about all the reflection that we have.
Yeah, so once again, we'd like to thank the profs from the various universities for giving us this chance to collaborate, and definitely thank you to our CMU teammates for working with us. So see you next time.